and I am here with yarn chat number 9. I should have looked that up before we started. I think it's number 9. I know I just uploaded one of these like a little over a week ago, and I was kind of planning on doing them every 2 weeks or so, but that last one was so long. I think I uploaded, the final file was like an hour and 20 minutes, and the footage was way, way longer. And I feel like for these last few yarn chats, there's been so many things that I want to talk about, and I'm like, okay, I'll get to it at the end. And then I get to the end and I see that I have like 2 hours of footage, and I'm like, this cannot continue any longer. I just got to cut it off. I'll get to it in the next one. So this is that next one. I'm going to cover everything that I've been meaning to do for a few weeks now and haven't gotten to. The other thing is I look exhausted, and that is because I am exhausted. If you don't follow me on Instagram, then you might not know that we got a puppy this weekend. I'm sure it seems very like impromptu, but this has been in progress for almost a year now. Actually, probably well over a year. And it finally, everything just kind of like fell into place, and we went for it. So tired. Radio is finally, she's 3 years old, and she's finally to the point where she's still like super energetic and playful, but she's very well trained. She's well behaved. She's obedient. We can leave her in the house. She's been potty trained since she was like 11 weeks old, and now we got to do it all over again. I'm so tired, but what we'll consider it practice for having kids someday, I guess. And we will survive just fine. So I'll talk about that if you guys want to hear about a puppy. I've made significant progress on some of the projects that I showed you guys last week. And then finally, this is the biggest thing that I've wanted to do for forever. I want to talk about some other podcasts, some great ones that I'm watching. I want to tell you guys, remember the yarn from Spun Fiber that we were trying to figure out a name for? I finally decided on a name based on your suggestions, so I want to talk about that. And then the last thing, it might be the first thing, I'll decide what order I'm going to do it in, is the giveaway for 200 subscribers. I ended up closing that thread at like midnight on Friday because I was planning to film on Saturday, and then this whole puppy thing happened. So I'm a little behind on filming, but the thread was to a point where it was like slowing down. I don't think that I missed out on a million entries, so I'll finally pick the winners for that. Hopefully, for once in our lives, we can get this in like 30 minutes or less. That's the goal. We'll see. Honestly, realistically, it depends on how much I talk about the puppy, if we're being serious. So let's get to it. Let's just start with the fun stuff. I want to just get the giveaway out of the way. I hit 200 subscribers. I think we're well above that right now, which is so exciting. I'll check right now and see where we are. Okay, 281 subscribers. That's amazing. I can't even believe it. Every time I look at it, I'm like, this is amazing. YouTube's amazing. Pause. My background, disaster, as you can see. It's because of the puppy. We were prepared to bring a puppy into our lives. We're not prepared to bring a puppy into our home. I will explain it all, but it happened like very sudden. And so everything has been like, get it out of the main living area, throw it in whatever room. So that's why there's like, I was going to say a bad word. There's stuff everywhere. I have literally this is what I look like. No makeup at all. Even moisturizer. So for all these things, I apologize. I will make up for it with giving some stuff away. So for 200 subscribers, I'm giving away a skein of Juniper Moon Finley Dappled. The colorway is called Dockside. It's a blue colorway. I actually have it in maybe 2 other colorways, and I was rolling around the idea of letting the person choose a color or choose between maybe 2 colors. So if you win, I will contact you about all that stuff. I'm giving away this little felted pod that I made, and then just a set of Addy Turbo needles that I picked up a few different Addy types, a bunch of needle types actually, just to figure out what I liked. I wasn't the biggest fan of the turbos, but they're like a beautiful brand new set of Addy Turbo needles. So try them out, see if you like them. If you don't love them, pass them along to the next person. Maybe they'll love them. If you do love them, then all the better. So I'm going to click over to the thread. The question that I was asking was, Let's see. Okay, so I get so many questions about lace work, and people always say that they love the lace work that I do. And I can totally see how lace is intimidating. But I wanted to kind of like open the question to everybody of like, one, what is your favorite lace pattern? So that we can share it with everybody. And quite honestly, so I can help decide what pattern I'm going to be doing next based on your suggestions. And then if you are reluctant to try lace, what are your hurdles? What are your problems? Have you encountered a problem? Or are you just like not even trying it? What's going on there? So based on that, just so you guys know, it's kind of my plan to talk about lace work, working with lace, and some like best practices that I've found and some tips and suggestions and all that. So that's why I asked the question. In the thread, it looks like we had 32 entries. So I'm going to go ahead and just on screen, I was the first post, so we're going to go 2 from 32. Miss Julie, it's okay, accidentally posted twice, and I was going to delete your post, but then I thought that it reserved the number, and then I noticed you deleted your post, and the number's still there. So if for some reason we hit that number, Julie only gets one entry. I mean, I know I said she's my knitting soulmate, but I'm not going to give her double entry. So her entry officially is 3. If we hit, let me find the number. If we hit 21 for some weird answer, I'm just going to do it again. Just so you guys know. So here we go. Every time. This is the worst. There, nope. Oh, how awkward can I be? 2 to 32. Generate a random number. 7 is the winner. There we go. And 7 is 6, 7. Yarn Friendly 2 is the username who says that they have never worked with lace. Knitting is a pretty new part of their life. Becoming addicted, fantastic. Have not tried lace for 2 reasons. The size of the yarn intimidates me, and I've not found a pattern for lace weight that doesn't intimidate me either. Super common. That's pretty much what everybody says. They're like, the yarn is too small and the patterns are intimidating. So that's great. So hopefully I will talk about, you know, some ways to go about doing lace. I don't see I clicked over to your profile. I don't see a name, unfortunately, so I can't say their name, but I will get a hold of you. If I'm like looking here, looking there, looking here, looking there, it's because I have the thread open in the background and I'm trying to like read along. So Yarn Friendly 2, who is number 7, congratulations. We got that out of the way. First thing I want to talk about, the thing that I've been meaning to talk about for forever, is other knitting podcasts that I love. I know that we see like kind of the same names thrown around, and that's great because it's almost like the second I see one person noticed, I suddenly see them like mentioned a ton, and that's fantastic. So we're all finding some really good knitting podcasts. The 2 that I have been loving recently that I haven't heard mentioned that much, the first one is called Cozy Crafting. It's with Abby. Abby is like, I've told you guys before that for me, what makes me love a podcast is the person's energy and the way that they come across on camera. It's less so about the content, which does not mean that she doesn't have great content, because she does. She is an active board on Ravelry. She's just like beautiful and like genuine, and she just comes across so fantastic on camera. I'm like, I want to meet this girl. I want to knit with her. Great. So Cozy Crafting, Abby. She also has an Etsy store and sells, I have notes because I can't remember all this, sells yarn under the, sorry guys, sells yarn under the name Wild Oak Yarns. And then she has a bunch of project bags. Project bags is like a slippery slope, guys. I have avoided it. And then I got this one in that swap, and I just love it so much. I'm like, yeah, I definitely need, of course I need project bags. Why have I not done this earlier? So I'm trying to resist, but Abby's fantastic. She actually hasn't uploaded in quite a few weeks, which is a huge bummer for me. I'm not really sure what's going on and how frequently she does upload, but I would love to see more. If you haven't watched her yet, definitely check it out. The other one is called Knitting in Stitches, and that is Moira. I hope I got her name right. This is like a new discovery for me, and I started watching, and I was like, talk about somebody who's made to be on camera. Her energy is just awesome. It's like somebody told me once that they feel like when I do this, I'm talking to them, which is so weird because I'm talking to this little green dot up here, and which is why I like look down so often, because then I'm looking at myself. I don't really want to look at myself, but then at least it feels like I'm talking to someone. So I struggle with feeling like I'm chatting with people and not just like rattling off a bunch of stuff. So when I find somebody else who has that vibe, I just love it. She's so good on camera. And then the first episode I watched was her most recent one. And it was just like one thing after another of like things that I just love and I'm super into, like random things. Now I feel like she's just the greatest and I want to watch. I'm going to go watch all the back episodes. Very excited. So those are my two. I mean, there's so many other good podcasts out there. Maybe I'll just put a whole list below, because the last time I talked about this, I was like kind of new and didn't really know a bunch of other ones. But anything I've watched, you like have probably heard of before. So the two that I don't hear about a lot but are so awesome: Moira from Knitting and Stitches, Abby from Cozy Crafting. There you go. Now, oh my gosh, I think I am even more out of control when I haven't slept and have so much coffee, like a lot of coffee. So I'm going to show you guys my works in progress, finally. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is show you the work that is not in progress. If you remember this is my Color Affection shawl, and I just hit the third color on this. I'm using, I told you guys last episode about the Madeline Tosh grab bags, and this is a one-of-a-kind color. And then this it's not like variegated, it's like a speckled almost color, is Becoming Art fingering in Lovebirds. And then I had just started on this third color, and this is a Madeline Tosh one-of-a-kind. But I said that I would figure out what the colors, probably should have been. One-of-a-kind, to me, I'm just assuming that was like the batch isn't quite right. It doesn't quite meet the specs for the colorway. But this, I knew that this dark pink was one of Madeline Tosh's very, very, very popular colorways. I just didn't know the color. So I took myself to Webs and looked up the colors. And that dark one is called Coquette. Surely that's what it's supposed to be. So the problem with Coquette is another phenomenal podcast that I wanted to mention weeks and weeks and weeks ago. I was like, how have I not heard about her before? She is just the best. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, everybody's talking about this podcast for good reason. That's Andre Sue Knits. Just like the best demeanor, dyes her own yarn, speaks about spinning in such an inspiring way to me, and makes me feel like I really want to like figure out this spinning thing. She talks about her daughters, and her daughters like to craft along with her and show like so much interest in the bags and yarn and projects that she's making, which is just like, one could only dream. Someday I would love to have that. A delight on Instagram, a delight on Ravelry. I'll stop gushing. The point is, she was just working on this beautiful shawl, and one of the three colors that she used was that Madeline Tosh Coquette, and it bled. I'm not going to say that the project was ruined, because it's still beautiful. By no means was it ruined, and if she was wearing it, I would not really notice. But how devastating is that, to spend hours and hours and hours on this like gorgeous lace, it's huge, beautiful 3-color shawl, and then to have that bright pink just like bleed all over the white is so upsetting. The good news is that based on suggestions from people who I don't know if it came through Instagram or through the podcast, but somebody had a suggestion for a way to remove the color, and I think she was able to remove the pink. But now I'm thinking, like, I'm not that far into that third color. Should I just rip it back and reskein this? Here's the cake. Reskein the cake, soak it, and see what kind of bleeding I have. Or, I mean, I know I said before that it doesn't look like there's a ton of contrast on this screen. Oh, my husband's calling. It might be about the puppy. I looked so grumpy then. He is out and about doing errands with his boy, as he says, and he wanted to call somebody to see if they wanted to meet the puppy. Didn't have their number, so he's out showing our puppy off around town. I'll tell you what, it's probably about 3 days before the entire town knows that we have a puppy, and then everybody's going to come and try and meet it. That's the way life goes in a small town. Okay, so let's get back to this. Do I just rip it out, reskein the cake, soak it, and then know I won't have a problem? Or, because they're all pink, like, I mean, hers bled from pink onto white, so it was more noticeable. Like, do I really care? I don't know. I can't decide. But I'm going to have to decide because Yarn Box is hosting a little, what do you want to call it? It's not a knit along. It's not a project, like a event. And it's, the hashtag is Watch Me WIP. I know that there's a song out right now that, and like a whole dance and video. I'll tell you the most embarrassing reason why I even know that is that on Snapchat, I follow 1 or 2 people who happens to be on Pretty Little Liars. I sound like a 14-year-old right now. I do. That's the truth. And they were dancing to this song one day. That's the only reason I know the song. We don't get radio stations out here. Oh my gosh, I'm just going on tangents. We don't get radio stations out here, so I only listen to Sirius XM. That's all I have. And I listen to Alt Nation or like Faction. That's really it. So I have not heard this song before other than on Snapchat like a teenager. Yarnbox is having this event. The hashtag is Watch Me WIP. And the whole point is to get your works in progress done. And you can submit up to 5. They are worth different point values. I don't know the specific point values, but based on the thread, it seems like a sweater would be like 5. An intricate, no, sweater would be 3. A hat or socks is going to be like 1. So then I guess an intricate shawl would be 2. I'm not sure how all the points work out. I think you have until August 24th to sign up, but I have signed up and I submitted 4 projects. The point is to like finish our works in progress, get them off the needles, cast on new stuff. So this color affection is on my list. So whether I just like keep trucking with Coquette and if it bleeds, it bleeds, I don't care, or try and do, I know nothing about dyeing yarn, nothing about this, but through Andre Sunit podcast, I learned that you can do like an acid heat set for your yarn. So maybe I could do that. Or do I like rip it back, soak it, rip it back, reskein it, soak it, let it dry, recake it, and start all over. I'm not really sure, but that is where this is. So if you are sitting on any Madeline Tosh, just last video, I was telling you how I held it to like such high esteem and it was like something so amazing. I wouldn't even let myself buy it. And now I'm like, this is a huge, really well-known company. It's super popular. I hear about it constantly. And it seems very split. Half the people are like, my yarn died, all the color fell out, it's a totally different color, or my color bled onto another color. And then half the people are like, my yarn's amazing, I've not had a problem. So I don't know where the inconsistency lies, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. So work in progress, no longer in progress at the moment. Works in progress that are in progress. I ended up, this is my Lispinard is how we decided to pronounce it. And when I showed it to you guys last time, I had like barely even eked the slightest little bit out. So what I did was actually rip back to the garter and start over. And this is where I am. And now I'm quite pleased with it. I said that I wasn't sure if this Elspeth Lavold silky wool was sufficiently showing off the pattern, but I feel like here I'm getting really good texture. And I'm going to be really honest. I changed the pattern only, I mean, visually it's still the same. The only reason I did it was to make it like way easier on myself. And I'll try and explain. So in these sections, this texture right here. Oh, can we see? Whenever I hold something up, like I can't see what you're saying. So in this section right here, the way it was written, it's a paid pattern. So again, not going to go into major detail, but it was written with a pearl edge. And then in the recess sections were actually written as, let me think about this, as garter. So knit on both sides. What I did is change it to be reverse stockinette. And the really nice thing about just doing stockinette and reverse stockinette is that you can read your stitches to know what you're supposed to do on the reverse side, and you don't have to follow a chart or written instructions. Hopefully that explanation makes sense. So whereas before I felt like I was like so married to the chart and I wasn't making any progress because I was never getting a moment where I could like sit down and focus with a chart. Now I got this memorized. It's just like an 8-row repeat. So, and this is the same as this, which is the same as this. So I have these memorized, and then this, it's very easy to tell what you're supposed to do based on what you did in the previous rows. So that one little change, if you buy the pattern because you love this for some reason and you want to know what I'm talking about in more detail, I'm happy to explain it. But I just made that one little change, and visually, really no difference. But it is the difference between, I felt like I was hitting my head against the wall. There was nothing hard about it. There was nothing bad about it. The pattern is written great. It's beautiful. I just couldn't hit a groove. Couldn't get in my groove at all. Now I'm like churning along. Amazing. So I'm really excited for this. It's like coming along how I would like. The fabric is turning out well. I have so like a ton more repeats to go, but it's going really well. So this is another submission of mine for Yarn Box Watch Me WIP. And I mean, I am not even, how many repeats is that? 5? I think we're supposed to do 45 or 50 repeats. So I've barely made a dent at all. But I got to finish so I can get points from a team. So, oh, and this is part of the Through the Loops Summer Shawl Knit Along. And I think that it ends September 15th. So I got to get it done. So that is happening. Okay, so this sweater, this is like unprecedented for me. Usually I start a project with gusto. And then I told you guys as soon as I know what it's going to look like, I'm like, man, I'm over it. On to the next. I started this project. I think the last time I showed you guys, I was like in this stage. This is actually the front. So now you know where I am with the front. The back I have completed. And I am like just delighted. I'm so happy. It's going so well. I have all these little like tails that I'm trying to make sense of before I hold this up. So the back, let's see if we can, that's really unattractive. You have your ribbing at the bottom, you increase, so this is your ribbing, increase, and then you decrease, and that's what makes the nice like swingy A-line shape. And then I have my armhole shaping, so I can't really, there's the back. I got this little spot of pooling right here. It's a little more green than everything else, but I told you that I was alternating skeins. So I think at this point, it's just kind of the nature of working with a hand dye. I've taken every realistic precaution. I'm not going to alternate 3 skeins. So I've taken realistic precautions, and it's just the way it is. This right here is the shoulder detail. So you have ribbing for like maybe this much of the shoulder. I'm a little worried it's going to be overly large, but hopefully in just like a nice oversized way. The green is like so much less apparent than it shows on screen, so I'm just not going to worry about it that much. But the back is done. And then this is the progress on the front. I really haven't been working on this at all. I finished the back and then I was like, let's take a break and work on something else. But I would imagine that the front could be finished next time I show you guys my works in progress, hopefully. And then from there, it's just like sleeves. And then there's quite a bit of finishing. It is seamed, so I'm going to have to seam it all. No idea how I'm going to do that. And then there's, I'm pretty sure there's ribbing around the neck. And then ribbing at the bottom on the side vents. So there's still a bit of finishing to do. But I am just loving working with a sport weight. For some reason, the difference between sport weight and fingering feels like I'm working with a bulky. It's just cruising along. Still think that the yarn is beautiful. I still love the color. I could not love the pattern anymore. I'm so excited. You know, these patterns are always, it's the way it goes. They're always on like very straight models, beautiful. So I don't know how it's going to fit on somebody that's quite curvy. But I have high hopes. I'm really excited for it. I honestly am. So pretty much phenomenal. I mean, I'm not like congratulating myself, but phenomenal progress is what I say. That is my 3rd entry for Yarn Box Watch Me WIP. And then I contemplated doing 5. 5's the limit. It's the most that you can do. And I was thinking like, it's not going to happen. What's the point? Just forget about it. So my 4th entry is a shawl that I showed ages ago on my blog. I don't even know that I've showed it on video, but I definitely will next time. It has been hibernating for so long that I've stolen the needles from it. So it just has those little end caps that you can put on the cable. I think those needles are now on color affection. So I'm going to have to like finish one to do the other or swap needles back and forth. But the pattern is called Artesian. I'll go ahead and insert a picture. It is this very modern lacy shawl. I'm using my, let's think about this, maybe March, January, February, March. I think maybe March. Fibrista Club Love Spun fingering in the color Blood Orange. And I quite like the pattern. I'm not too fond of the yarn, but let's just finish her up at this point. I'm not going to like rip back. It looks like quite a bit is done on mine, but I'm actually probably less than halfway done. So add it to the list. Those are my 4 entries for the Yarn Box Watch Me WIP. If you guys receive Yarn Box and want to join in, I mean, I got nothing to do with it. I'm just like, whoa, one more person joining in. I know that they're going to divide up to teams. Last day for posting your entries is, I think, August 24th. I can always clarify that in the show notes. And all you have to do is tag your photo with Watch Me WIP. Upload, make sure that there's a project on Ravelry and that you do have a photo uploaded. And then you just link and say like, count me in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the projects that I'm going to work on. The 5th one that I considered was, I have that pair of Hermione's Everyday Socks in progress, but I don't think, I like the pattern. I don't think I'm going to finish them though. I wear ankle socks 99.99% of the time. I don't even wear socks. I wear socks. I like being barefoot. I hate feet, but I like being barefoot. Ankle socks are all I really need. So just 4. Those are the 4 entries. We got my Gary, my Lee Spinard, my Color Affection, and Artesian are the 4 that I am trying to finish by, I want to say, end of October. And then independent of that, Gary is for my sister's knitter Brooklyn Tweed knit along. And I believe that needs to be done by, is it October 1st or end of October? I can't remember. I should check on that. And then the Through the Loops Summer Shawl Knit Along, which is Lise Pinard, has to be done, I think, by September 15th. So I got a lot of deadlines, but I think it's going to keep me going, actually getting some stuff done. One last thing to share, and then I can talk about puppy stuff, I guess. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to do was, I showed you guys this quite a while ago. This was part of a Kickstarter for Spun Fiber, and I paid for the Name Your Skein option. This is the Luna Sport weight. This is 100 grams, 350 yards in this beautiful purple. There we go. That's a very good representation. Oh, my nails, horrible. Chasing a puppy all the time. And I threw out some names. So the names that I threw out were like, I have a little list. I just rambled off a bunch, but I was thinking, I was stuck in this flower realm of like thistle, wisteria, allium, lavender, anemone, blueberry muffin. Because to me, it looks like blueberry that's left in milk. It turns that like light purple color. And then quartz was another option that I threw out there. I talked about it on the podcast a little bit, and then I put it on my Instagram. And I just wanted to like give some credit to the people who chimed in. Angela and Chelsea both chimed in with different names that they were fond of that I had listed: thistle, quartz, and wisteria. And then Regina says, it reminds me of my ring, which is purple tanzanite. I totally agree. I actually thought of amethyst, which is, you know how every month has like 2 birthstones? I'm June, so pearl, and then I think the secondary one is amethyst. She says lavender is what she first thought, lilac, orchid, blackberry, mauve. Julie says Violet Beauregard, which I love that. Willy Wonka. That's a really good suggestion. Who else? Pam says Parma Violet. Who else do we have here? Cooperate. Elise says lavender. And then I got the suggestion that ultimately I decided was the winner. And that is Jessica. I will contact you directly because you probably aren't even watching this. Says that she saw the name Luna and started thinking in astrological terms and decided to look up some purple astrological references. And the word aurora is the wavelengths that are the beautiful purples we see after a solar storm. So I think that's a great name. That's what I'm going to submit back. And I think this is a beautiful color. I really do. I said I was thinking about doing something for my best friend's daughter, but purple's not really my color. So I was going to just offer this up to her as a thank you for helping us out. So yeah, that's finally resolved. Done. I'm a little nervous to talk about the puppy because I feel like the excitement of a puppy is going to be like totally stomped on by people who have very critical feelings about dogs and rescues versus breeders and puppy mills. And guys, I get it. I totally get it. I don't know how long any of you have been watching or reading, but I talked about the loss of both Cooper and Emma. They were both rescues. Baxter, he's over here on his chair, is another rescue. I am hugely supportive of rescues. I get it. I'm not opposed at all. I'm like on your side. If I donate to anything, it's always the Humane Society or my local rescue. I stop on the side of the road to catch stray dogs so often that Alan tells me that I'm trying to steal other people's pets. So I get it. But my relationship is a partnership, and we're not on the same page about rescuing versus purchasing. I hate that word, but breeder dogs. And for a multitude of reasons that I don't feel like I really need to get into on YouTube, we decided for us in our lives right now, the best decision was to get a very specific breed of dog. And beyond that, the most important thing is to get a puppy. Radio she's like our daughter. We're obsessed with her. But she's a very specific temperament. And she has not done that well with other adult dogs. You guys saw me try. We brought her litter mate Maggie to live with us, my mom's dog, my parents' dog, but mostly my mom's dog. It didn't go well. Radio was miserable. Maggie was mean. Neither of them were happy. We weren't happy. My mom wasn't happy. Everybody was happier when Maggie went back to live with my mom, as she should have from the start. And Radio didn't have Maggie around anymore. But since losing Cooper very, very abruptly in the fall, it's been hard. Radio wants a buddy. She needs a buddy. And part of living with our existing dog, who we love dearly, was finding a dog that would be a good match. And then the priority there was finding a puppy with a very calm, mellow demeanor so that Radio could kind of help raise it and that they could get along well. Beyond that, the hope is that we would have kids before long, and I just want to know that we're raising a dog that we can trust with our children someday, and we will be bringing this dog to work with us, where it will encounter hundreds of people before it's even 6 months old. And to us, for all those reasons, a puppy was the priority. The breed was important to us, but a puppy was the biggest deal. And Wyoming is not like other states. You wouldn't get that unless you lived here or in a similar place. I have stalked rescues, humane societies, high kill shelters, low kill shelters for literally months, every single day on Pet Finder, and we just weren't finding anything that was going to work for our family. I know it feels like I'm like over defending the situation, but I'll tell you what, months and months and months ago, I went out when we were in Michigan for my best friend's birthday. I don't know if I ever told you guys. I think I edited it out. We went to a drag show, and it was amazing. It was phenomenal. And as I was editing the footage, I was thinking like, I know somebody's gonna be conservative and they're not gonna want to hear about this, and I'm gonna lose people because I talked about going to a drag show. And I just can't apologize for every decision. I really can't, and none of us should have to. So yes, I went to a drag show, and our puppy, the light of our lives, came from a very responsible breeder that we have been in contact with for many, many, many months. So I hope and I ask that you not stomp all over the joy with your very strong opinions, because I get it. I don't disagree with you. It's just the decision that we made because it works for our family. His name is Sullivan. We call him Sully. He is 9 weeks old, 21 pounds. He's going to be a very big boy. I don't know that Alan's ever been on camera. Alan is 6'5", and he's delighted at the thought of having a dog that is his size, as he puts it. So our goal is to have a buddy that can like come along camping and hiking and on the ATVs, and Radio welcomes the idea of relinquishing her role to someone else. Cooper was very much like alpha to her, and I know that as soon as this little guy knows that he will take that spot. And I think that with Radio's temperament, it will relieve some of the pressure from her. So it's just good. We're excited, we're tired, but we got a new puppy, and if he was here and not out running errands with Alan, I would show him on camera. Maybe I'll get some footage of him on camera to insert. But hey guys, it's much later, but I got a very unhappy puppy to come say hi. This is Sullivan. We call him Sully, and he does not want to be picked up. Hey Bubba. His tail's wagging, I assure you. Hey, say hi. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.